welcome back. Thanks for joining me for episode 21 of the Alieness Crafts podcast or channel. On this channel I predominantly share with you my knitting, crocheting related projects, sometimes some cross stitch, and I have been known to do a little bit of sewing also. This episode I have some knitting, crocheting and a tiny bit of cross stitch to share with you. So I'm going to kick off the episode by showing you my finished objects. So for finished objects I have firstly this lace summer top, which is a Serta pattern. I've done this one before. If you remember, if you've watched me previously, you will know that I made this in the white version before with the sleeves. This time around I decided to do a slightly bigger size and do no sleeves, or kind of cap sleeves. And I'm using the colour Bordeaux, which is a Drops Muscat yarn, a cotton yarn, mercerised cotton, and it's this kind of deep kind of red colour. So I'm going to get on my knees so I can show you exactly what it looks like. It is very big because I've made it oversized, like that's where I am, and it's quite big. I wanted it to be a kind of a beach cover-up, so I could wear like a bikini or swimsuit underneath it and still feel kind of okay walking around. So that was the idea, and I wanted it to be oversized. Not sure I wanted it quite this oversized, but that's what I've got. So I made modifications to the sleeves. The sleeves are meant to be these short sleeves here with the lacy pattern, but I just decided to do some double trebles there, US double trebles, is that what you call them? I always forget the terminology because I go between UK and US terminology and I always forget what it is. I think it's UK double trebles and no, US treble and UK double trebles. I think that's right. So I've done that for the sleeves, just to they're quite big, quite a big sleeve, because I wanted it oversized, and it comes to here. So it's quite long. I didn't enjoy doing this as much as I enjoyed the first version, and I did see that it was starting to get a bit bigger than I thought it was. I can't remember if I checked my gauge on this. I have all the information on Ravelry, so check that out if you want any information there. The modifications I made as to like the neck shaping, I made the neck a bit lower down because I found on the white one that the neck was quite high up and it was just kind of bending over like that. So I thought I'd make some adjustments to this side, lengthen each edge before connecting the two, so that I think I did an extra row of double trebles on the shoulder of the front just to kind of lower the neck slightly, so it kind of goes down but it doesn't fold over. So yeah, so those are the mods I made for that, and I'm pretty pleased with how it looks actually at the moment. I have a grey vest top underneath it, and that's not what I would be wearing, but you know, it's just to give you an example of what it will look like on. So I'm going to take it off because it's getting I'm getting a bit warm in this. The next finished object I have is this one here, and this is the Breeze tank top. This is what it looks like on the hanger. I think I have pictures of this one on my Ravelry. Right, I'll insert pictures of what I look like wearing it, just so you can get an idea. I have made this already in a brighter green colour, and I decided I liked it so much I made another one, and the yarn is the same type of yarn, so it's King Cole Bamboo Cotton Solid yarn, and this is the colour Sea Breeze. So I've done exactly the same thing for this one, although what did I do differently? I have made some adjustments actually. Right, so on this one, on the pattern calls for an I-cord bind off for the neck and the sleeves, and I decided I wanted to make it slightly different to the other tank top that I've made, the other Breeze tank top, and just do garter stitch edging. And so that's what I've done. I've done a garter stitch sleeve on each side and the neck. And what I've done, I think I've worn this once and I realised that I made a mistake, as I do, with the pattern. And what I found was I'm wearing it and this edge here is curling up. And I was looking at it thinking one day, why does it keep curling at the edges? The other green one doesn't curl like that, so why is it curling? And then I realised that that's because I continued the pattern all the way down to the bottom. But on the original, on the actual pattern, it tells you to do the garter ridges right the way around. So that becomes a hem. So instead of having the stocking stitch section there at the bottom where I've got the 3 garter stitch ridges quite close together, that would continue all the way around and not stop and do the stocking stitch there. So I made the mistake there, and that's why it's curling up at the bottom. So yeah, I have worn it once though. I like it. Ooh, I've noticed another mistake. Oops, I've noticed another mistake on the back there. Never mind. Yeah, I've got a random pearl bump there. I don't know if you can see that. Right there, random pearl bump. That is odd. There. In the middle of my stocking stitch. Never mind, no one's going to notice. So yeah, so that is the second Breeze tank top. I really like it. I like the way it hangs. It drapes really nicely, and that's the second one I made. I'm trying to stop myself from making more of them because I think that I need a bit of variation in my wardrobe, but I do like that a lot and I do recommend it. I think it's quite easy for a beginner to do because it's just basic stocking stitch and garter stitch. The only difficulty you'd have possibly is when you're doing the short rows up here for the shoulder shaping. I noticed that on one side it looks, to me, it looks quite obvious where I've done the shaping and there, so I didn't quite get it as good as I would have liked, but hey, no one's going to notice that when I'm wearing it, and I like wearing it and it was nice and I'm good with that. So the next thing I have are dishcloths, because I had how many balls? I had some leftover yarn from this, the Bordeaux colourway, so I decided to do some dishcloths. Let me find them. Let's see, where is it? Oh, by the way, that Breeze top, this is the pattern. It's Breeze tank top by Amanda Lilly. That's what the pattern looks like. Okay, so that's that. So yeah, the dishcloths, I wanted to use up the yarn that I had left over, and so I made, which one did I make first? I found some dishcloth patterns that I had in my library on Ravelry, and I started with the Andy the Panda. Very easy, free pattern on Ravelry. Who's it by? Oh, by Elaine Fitzpatrick. So that's the Andy the Panda, and let's put that to the side. This is what it looks like. I don't remember if I blocked it or wet it or what I did, but that's what it looks like. Very easy. It's just a mixture of garter stitch and stocking stitch. If I hold that up, maybe you'll be able to see it a bit better, the panda shaping. There you go, that looks better. So yeah, that's what it looks like. That was an easy, quick knit, and I used up some of the yarn for that. Not really much more I can say about that one. Then I still had some left over, some yarn left over, so I did the penguin washcloth, and this is also by Elaine Fitzpatrick. I ran out of yarn before I finished this one, but this is where I got to. So I didn't complete the border at the top, so if you see there, that's seed stitch here, or moss stitch, and I didn't get to do the same amount at the top as the bottom, but I got fair way into the top bit, and then I ran out of yarn, so that's my penguin. Hopefully you can see that. So that's 2 washcloths that I managed to finish up, and that was the end of that ball of yarn, and no more red, so yay, I managed to use that up. Then I moved on to the Vertices Unite shawl, which is by Stephen West. This is the pattern, Vertices Unite, and I made the larger version of this pattern. This pattern, oh, I really loved working on this shawl. I've gifted it away, but I have taken some pictures and footage of it before I did that, so you can see. I used a mixture of different yarns for that one. Gone to Earth, which is brown, by Biffsugar Yarns. I used Torpid by Dusty Dimples. I used Summer Berries by Jelly Beans Yarn. Vintage China by Lay Family Yarns. Oops, dropping stuff now. Let's do it this way, actually. Let's do it this way. Okay. Then, lastly, I had the Paper Roses by Biffsugar Yarns. So all of these colours used together to make my vintage, not vintage, Vertices Unite shawl. They're all, actually, with the exception of this one, all of these are merino nylon bases, and then the Paper Roses was merino cashmere nylon, so this is that much softer. And that's what I'm showing you here is what I have left after doing that shawl. So I'm trying to think of what I could do with those, because I don't think I've got enough yarn left to do the same shawl again. However, I could just do it and just mix up the colours, or I could just make socks, or I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those bits of yarn yet, but there is enough to do something with them. So that's the Vertices Unite shawl, and I will insert video footage of me modelling the shawl so you can see what it actually looked like. It is a really big shawl. So I had to do this quick video to show you the finished Vertices Unite shawl. So it started at this end, and here, this top colour here, top section, is Dusty Dimples Torpid yarn and Biffsugar Yarns Gone to Earth striped. You can see that. Then we move on to section 2, and this was Jelly Beans Yarns in the Summer Berries colourway, which is the purpley colour, and then the creamy colour is Lay Family Yarns Vintage China. And then, so that's the beginning. Then we move on to this section, which is Biffsugar Yarns Paper Roses, which is a merino cashmere nylon. These colours, these yarns were merino superwash merino and nylon, 75-25%. These colours. This one is a merino cashmere nylon, which is a merino, 100% merino, I think it was. Then I moved on to this section, I think. What did I do first? Yeah, I think then I did this section, which is Lay Family Yarns Vintage China, then Summer Berries and Gone to Earth. Summer Berries being the Jelly Beans yarns. And then lastly, this one was Torpid by Dusty Dimples. Had to think about that then, and I've got my little tag on. So I'm going to show you the full shawl, if I can get it all. It's very difficult to get it all in frame because it is that big, hence the reason I am going to be inserting this clip. So that's the whole shawl. It's going to be gifted, and I love it. It is super soft. I love the way the colours worked out. Round the edge, the I-cord edging is the Summer Berries colourway, because I wasn't sure. I think the pattern said to use this one for the edging, but I thought that the cream would be a bit too stark and that the Summer Berries worked better for the edging, so I've used that. And just to, you see how big it is. This is the wrong side. I did make a mistake with the wrap and turns. I didn't actually know about Stephen West's wrap and turn video, and I wasn't doing, I did the wraps, no, I did the turns, I didn't do the wraps correctly. However, it doesn't look too bad. I think it still looks nice. You can't really see. I think it makes a kind of pretty edging. But yeah, that's it. It's all done and it's going to be gifted, and I hope that the recipient loves it as much as I like it. I actually want one for myself now. I'd love to have one in blue, because in lots of different blues, because blues are my thing. That's how it's really, really big, very kind of snug. And let me see if I can pan it down a bit so you can see how long it goes. It goes all the way down. So it's very long. It's a nice long shawl, and hopefully she'll like it. I can do that. You can wrap it. You can wear this. I mean, people wear shawls however they want to, and I tend to wear the one that I have currently, my big blue shawl. I can't remember what it's called now, but it was a Hohi Locatelli one. I wear it like this. So this is, like this will be more of a scarf. But, you know, for those chilly evenings when you just want to have something to just put over your shoulders while you're out and about. Maybe it's been a sunny day and in the evening you don't want to wear a cardigan, you just want something just to take the chill off. Perfect. So I'm hoping that she likes it. Let me know what you think of this. I am thinking about doing another one, like I said, but I'm trying to work through my yarn stash at the moment, and I don't have any blues to make one for myself, so that will be a future whip. That'll be in my queue of things to do. Back to the video. Nicely. I absolutely love the way it turned out, and I do want to make myself another one for me to keep this time, but I'd like to do it in a blue colour, lots of blue colours, because blue is my favourite colour. Then I went on to do some afterthought everything socks. Now I had this opal yarn, and I showed you in my last video the yarn that I was going to use, and then I made a start. I think I started it after the video. Yeah, I started the socks the next day, and what I did, if you check my Ravelry page, you'll see I did one whole long sock tube, and I've worked from cuff down to cuff, and I've done a Norwegian cast on for the cast on edge, and then when I've come to the bind off, I've done Sheena's, is it Sheena's stretchy bind off? I think I did Sheena's stretchy bind off for the bind off end, and then what I did was I split it down the middle, split the socks in two, and then I finished off the toes and then went back and added in the heels. So it worked out a lot better than I thought it would do. I was just kind of experimenting really. I didn't follow a pattern as such. I just did normal vanilla socks, and then looked up the what do you call it, the afterthought heel video. Which video was it I found? I can't remember the video I found, but there's a video on YouTube that shows you the afterthought heel without waste yarn, and I used that to do my afterthought heels, and that's what they turned out like. For the heels I used what yarn was it? It was a Sirdar country yarn. I used this for the sleeves on my long line cardigan when I ran out of the hand dyed yarn. So this one is Sirdar country style 4-ply yarn. I used that for the heels because I had some left over and I wanted to finish that up, and everything else is just done in the opal yarn, and I think they turned out alright. You know, I think they fit quite nicely. I made a slight modification to the heels in that I worked a couple of rounds before I started doing the decreases, just because I wanted to add some depth to the heel, and that seemed to work out fine. They fit okay. Afterthought heels are not my preferred shaped heel. I much prefer a heel flap and gusset, but because I wanted to do the afterthought everything sock, I wanted to give it a try. I've done that and I'm quite happy with the way they turned out. They are not matching socks, but you know, they're not twins, but they are sisters. So there you go. So that is them. Quite pleased with that. I think the cuff, you can probably see the difference between the two types of cuff. One is very stretched out, and this is the Sheena stretchy bind off. I can tell this is where I bound off, and this one is the Norwegian cast on end where I cast it on, because that is a lot more springy. It springs back, and this one you can see it doesn't have as much spring in it. But I suppose once you've got it on your feet, it's not really that noticeable. And the rib is just a 2x2 rib. So yeah. So those are my afterthought everything socks. What else did I get up to? I also worked on the Rainbow Riot hat. I don't have that to show you either because I gifted it, so I'll insert a picture up here of what it looked like. That one was a Pixie Yarns yarn in the colour Rainbow Riot, and what happened was I made the socks. I'll insert a picture of the socks. In the same yarn, and then I asked Sophie from Pixie Yarns to dye me up some of the same kind of yarn in a double knit weight so that I could make a hat out of it, because my brother wanted a hat. So I've done the hat and I've gifted that to him. He likes it. I wasn't sure whether or not to make it reversible, but then I think what happened, I felt that after knitting up the hat it looked like it looked really nice on the inside as well as on the outside. I actually prefer the inside of the hat, so I've gifted it to him on the basis that it's reversible. I've stitched it up so that you can't see where I've, you know, joined the ends or whatever, where I've weaved it all in. I've weaved it all in nicely so he can wear it either one way or the other. So he liked it and I'm happy that I have got that one done. I do have some of that yarn left over, so not quite sure what to do with that one. But yeah, I'm pleased that he likes it, and yeah, it worked out nicely. Then I moved on to some socks, more socks. So this is probably my second or third pair of pattern socks. I don't generally like to do pattern socks because I like my socks to be kind of like travel knitting and kind of mindless knitting. I just like to be, my socks, when I'm doing socks, they're vanilla socks, and it tends to just be while I'm watching TV, because I can knit my socks while I'm watching TV, I can knit them while I'm travelling. They're kind of on the go project types for me. But I have managed to get hold of this Pebbles and Pathways socks. I mentioned Pathways pattern. I mentioned this in my last video. So that's the pattern by Marce from Heybrownberry. It was her first ever pattern release, and the socks are stunning. The pattern is really clear, very easy to understand. She had certain pictures, the fitting, it fits really nicely. I like the heel on this. It reminds me of the Flegel heel. I think it is the Flegel heel, but I really like the way it worked out. I managed to use up all of the yarn right down to the last bit actually, and I'm really pleased with how they turned out. So where are my sock blockers? Get the sock blockers and I can show you what they look like. The yarn I used was, what was it? It was a Woolly Mama Yarns 4-ply merino sock yarn in the colour Surfs Up. I've had this in my stash for quite a while, didn't quite know what to do with it. Used it for a couple of projects, just like little additions, but not as a project, not for a main colour. And anyway, this is what the socks look like. This is the Pebbles and Pathways sock, and look at that, they are cables. So you've got the cables going along the front there. I'll just take that one down. That's one sock. You've got the cable going all the way along the front, right the way down the foot. It's got garter stitches right the way down the middle there. Then you've got a pattern section here, and then cables there, and garter stitch at the back. And then it's just your normal stocking stitch for the sole. And the heel, it looks like a Flegel heel. I think it's a Flegel heel. But yeah, it's such a nice fit. I will try and insert a picture of what it looked like on my foot while I was working on it. Haven't taken a picture of them on in their finished state, but yeah, I'm really pleased with how they turned out. I really enjoyed knitting this. I did make a mistake on the cable at one point. Well, actually I made a mistake on the back because the cable was supposed to twist one way, and then I realised, and then I messed. Did I mess it up? No, what happened? I started off twisting the same way as that side when I worked the back, and it was supposed to go the opposite direction, and then when I got to the top I realised and I changed it, and I've done the same thing on the other foot. I managed to go the correct way on one side, and then I messed up on the last one. So yeah, it was just a case of, I think by the time I got round to doing the leg section, I thought I knew what I was doing and I wasn't concentrating as much, so I managed to mess up the direction of the cables, but the cable is still there. So yeah, these are really nice socks. I think I'll make another pair of these because they actually feel really nice on as well. That's what they look like, the front. Let's try and get it to, there you go. They are really pretty to look at, and they are really comfortable on. The squishiness of the garter stitch makes them really lovely to wear. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the socks. I really love the pattern. Well done, Marce. These are good. So yeah, that is Pebbles and Pathways. So those are my socks. What else did I have? I haven't finished up as much as I would normally finish, but those are all my finished objects. So I will share with you quickly what I have been getting up to in the whips department. I have been working on the Stash Buster corner to corner blanket. So this is what it looks like now. This is just a general corner to corner blanket. I wanted to make this and give it to charity because it's just scraps of yarn that I have left over from projects, DK weight yarn, and I'm just making a corner to corner blanket, and I will give it to charity when it's done. That's the plan. So yeah, that's how big it is. It's getting quite big now, but I don't think it's wide enough yet. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could stop here and just continue upwards at this point, because that is quite wide actually, thinking about it. But yeah, I'm not going to go into detail as to all the different yarns I've used, but what I've done essentially is I've used a cream, a yellow or a white yarn, and I've mixed that with a coloured yarn. So I've done, this is a 2-stranded job, and one strand will always be cream, yellow or white, and the other strand will be a colour, and that's why it kind of has that marbly, if that's the word, effect to it. But that's it. Yeah, I like to do this when I'm having a break from my knitting and decided to just do some easy, thoughtless crochet. So that is where I am with that one. And the last whip I have to share with you is, and actually no, it's not the last, I've got 3 more. This is a crochet whip. This is my Tunic tee. Started this the other day. That's what it looks like, Tunic tee, and there also is, the designer is, oh, Winding Road Crochet, no name, just Winding Road Crochet. I'm trying to do it without the pockets because I don't think I want the pockets on the front, and so far I have managed to do this. This is one, this is the front, one section, and it's the first time that I'm actually doing crocheted ribbing that's at the bottom there. So I found that a bit of a challenge initially, and then I got the hang of it. It's always a bit of a challenge for me to do the edges and keep the edges straight and not get too many stitches, and I think as usual I started off with the right amount, and then I managed to increase by 2 stitches, and then when I've realised I've worked it back round so that it is the correct number of stitches, and then I find that I have to count literally every row to make sure that I'm using the correct stitch count, but that's where I am with that one. That's the front or the back, I'm not sure which actually. I think that's the, yeah, that's just the body, it's just described as body. I think front and back are the same, and this is how far I've got with the other piece. So I've just done that much. So I've done quite a bit. There's not really a lot to do. Once I've done the body, then it's just a matter of finishing off the arms and it's done, because I don't really want the pockets. So yeah, it should be quite quick once I get into the swing of it. The yarn is really lovely and soft. It's got kind of a velvety feel to it, and the yarn is Stylecraft Denim Look Genie yarn, and the colour I'm using is Memphis. It's a beautiful blue colour. Hopefully you can see the yarn texture there. Yeah, that is it. And I have a couple of balls of this left. I think I'll have quite a bit left over once I'm done. I'm not sure what to do with that, but we shall see. Cross that bridge when I come to it. And the hook I'm using, I've used 3 different hook sizes. I couldn't get gauge on this. I had a lot of trouble getting gauge on this. So the suggested hook size was 5.5 millimeters, and I tried that and I was getting, it was just not, it was too many, or too few stitches. So I went down to 4.5. That was too few stitches. And so I've gone down to a 4, and even then I think the gauge is 11 DC to 3 inches, and even then I'm not getting 11, I'm getting 10. So I think I could have gone down to maybe a 3.5, but I felt like, you know what, I don't really want to go any further than a 4. 4 is a more comfortable feel for me. So I'm going to stick with that, and it'll be slightly bigger than it should be, I guess. So yeah, doesn't bother me. About an inch, or, you know, slightly bigger is fine, as long as it's not massively bigger than it should be. Just being 1 stitch out, I don't think is going to really make too much of a difference with that one. So that's where I am with that. So I've done the rib section using a 5.5. Then I started the body section with the 4.5 and found that that was too big, and then I changed to the 4mm, and I'm working with that consistently, and that is a US size 6. G6 it says on it. So yeah, so that is my whip for crochet. Then I have, what else did I have? Oh, I'm working on, what else am I working on? Basic glove pattern. This is a knitting project. Let's see if I can find that one. The basic glove pattern is by who? Oh, I don't know. Harry Wells. Basic glove basic plain gloves, good for a boy, designs by Harry Wells. That's the pattern. Free pattern on Ravelry, and it's using sport weight yarn. And the yarn I have is Rico Creative Sport DK yarn. This one here, and this I'm not sure what the colour is. It's just number 12. I think it's mauve. And I've done, more or less done 1 glove, but get this, I feel like I've done the hand a bit too long. I went a bit crazy with the length of the hand, and although it fits, don't laugh, although it fits on my hand if I pull it down, it's a nice kind of comfortable fit. It looks really long in the body. It looks really long, but it does fit nicely. These are not for me, these are a gift for someone else. I still have to do the thumb on this one, but I feel like I've only got this amount of yarn left, so I feel like I need to start the second hand, and then if I get to do the fingers on the second hand and have nothing left over for the thumb, then both thumbs can look the same, and I'll just add in a different colour, not quite sure what, but that's all I've got left, and this is where I've got on the second glove. So yeah, it's going to be a case of playing yarn chicken, I think. But that's it. I'm using DPNs for this project, and this is my Craft House Magic DPN holder. These are using 2.75mm needles for this, and and it feels really cottony, which is fine because I guess it is cotton. So yeah, it's working up nicely. I like the feel of it. I think she will like, my cousin will like the feel of it because it's for her. Hopefully her fingers are the right length for the glove, and yeah, she's been waiting for these since last Christmas, so I'm a little bit behind. But anyway, that's that. So I'm working on that. That was my last knitting whip. Then I have some cross stitch to show you today. So I have worked on, not regularly, but I did do some work on my cross stitch project, which is this one, butterflies. It's Bebunni butterflies, and if I can find the right way out, this is what it's looking like at the moment. So I'm getting there. I'm making some progress. I'll try and insert a picture of what it looked like before so you can see the difference between now and then. I do feel like I've made quite a bit of progress. So I've done quite a bit on the ears here, and also I filled in this section here. Yeah, this bit I did a bit of work on, so I did a bit here, and then I've done all of this bit more work here, so I filled it in a bit more, and I'm quite pleased with that. I do need to have some time to, just some quiet time to just sit and just sew happily along, you know, but it's not something, because I have to be able to see it properly. My eyes have not been so great lately, so I've been taking it easy with the sewing and not putting too much pressure on my eyes. But yeah, I'm pleased with the progress I've made on that, and hopefully I'll get that finished at some point, but I mean, I've got all of that to do. So I really would like to do the butterflies, but because of where they are, I'd have to do a lot of counting upwards, so I'm going to just concentrate maybe on the ears and get those done before I start working on the butterflies. I think that's probably the way to go about it. So that's it. Those are my whips, my works in progress. Yeah, that's all I have to show you. I have been working slowly on things. I'm trying not to rush myself. I'm trying to just calm down and just enjoy the process. So that has been kind of my feel for this month. Just calm down, enjoy the process, enjoy the knitting or the crocheting, and not putting too much pressure on myself to finish things by a certain date when it's really unnecessary. I don't have deadlines, but I mean, once I've done the Vertex Unite shawl and the hat, there's no real deadline. The gloves, I'd like to get them finished by Christmas. But other than that, I mean, everything else is just for me, and there's no real rush, and I want to enjoy the process. So yeah, that's it. That's all for my whips and my finished objects. Now I guess it's time to move into my incoming stuff. Because I haven't been doing a lot of buying yarns, because I'd been spending this last month using stuff up, my plan is to just use up what I have, start using my old stash, finishing yarns up before I buy new stuff. However, I did see on the Biffsugar Yarns website some yarn that was, I think it was on sale, and I couldn't resist it and I had to get it, and it was this. It had blue in it, you see. I mean, this is like, wow. This is a double knit yarn, and it's a superwash merino nylon in a DK weight, and the colour is Cove. And I just love those colours. Look at that. It's got speckles in it, it's got different blues, it's got brown in it, and I love the way it looks. And I've got 4 of these in the hope that I can make a nice top for myself, and I just love the colour, and it's really soft and squishy. Not sure what top I have in mind for this, but for some reason it was really important that I bought the yarns there and then, because I wanted to make a top with them, even having no idea what top I wanted to make, but nevertheless I needed to have the yarn. That's what we do. So I have 4 of these. I'm only showing you 2, but I do have 4. and I will stash them away until I've decided what it is I want to make with them. So that's them. I also forgot to show you last time round some stitch markers I got, or progress keepers. And I bought these from Crafternoon Treats because I kept forgetting, when I was working on the breeze top, I kept forgetting while I was doing the neck bit which was the front and which was the back. And so I decided to pick up these Crafternoon Treats stitch markers. So I've got front and back, and then I've got, what is it? Wrong side and right side. And they're really cute. And then on top of those stitch markers, she's sent the little bulb, she's attached the bulb stitch markers there too, so those are quite handy. I find that I like to use those for cabling, to hold the cable stitches. Yeah, they come in handy. But yeah, I thought these were quite cute, so I picked them up. Crafternoon Treats on Etsy. So yeah, I think that's it. That is everything, guys. What can I say other than thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. I'm going to have to do a bit of editing, so I'm not rambling too much. But if you've enjoyed the video, give me some thumbs up. Let me know. Talk to me in the comments section below if you have any comments or queries or suggestions. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in my next video, which will be in a month's time, because I like to do a monthly upload so that I have time to do some knitting, some crocheting, or whatever craft I'm working on, and you also have time to check out this video as well as all the other beautiful podcasts that are out there in the crafting community. So join me next month for my next episode, and in the meantime, happy crafting. Bye.